The vanishing of Brandon Swanson, a 2 a.m. call that ended in silence. At around 2 a.m. on a quiet May night in 2008, Brandon Swanson made a call to his parents. He explained that he had driven his Chevrolet Lumina into a ditch and couldn't get it out. He sounded calm, but minutes later the call would end with a gasp and silence. Brandon has never been seen again. Brandon Swanson was a 19-year-old from Marshall, Minnesota. He was studying at Minnesota West Community and Technical College. On May 14, 2008, he was at a party at a friend's house celebrating the end of spring classes. What started as a routine drive home turned into one of the most puzzling disappearances in modern history. That night, Brandon left the town of Canby just after midnight. He headed home to Marshall. It was a drive of about 30 miles. At the party, he was seen drinking alcohol, but witnesses would later say he was not drinking much and did not appear intoxicated. It was about 2 a.m. when he made the call to his parents, telling them that he had gotten stuck in a ditch and was not able to drive his car out. He insisted he was not hurt. He just needed a ride. Could they come and get him? And they said yes and left right away. They all decided he would stay with the car. When his parents thought they were close to where Brandon was, they asked him to flash his headlights, and they would do the same, but neither could see the other. Brandon got restless and told them he could see a light off in the distance. He was sure it was coming from the town of Lind. He figured this was only a few miles away. He told his parents he was going to start walking that way. He asked his dad to drive that way as well. There was a local bar there, and his dad could park and wait for him. In the meantime, Brandon's parents stayed on the phone with him as he walked. Then, just over 45 minutes into the call, Brandon suddenly said, "Oh shit," and the line went dead. His parents heard only silence. They hung up and tried multiple times to call him back, but no answer. Brandon has not been heard from since. Police launched an investigation, but not until the next day. They assumed he was just sleeping off the alcohol, or maybe he had gone somewhere with friends. When they did search the area where Brandon said he was, they found nothing. Brandon thought he was a few miles from Lind. Lind is about 10 miles south of Marshall. His car was actually found on the outskirts of Taunton and Porter. That's about 20 miles northwest of Marshall. Brandon was more than 25 miles from Lind. His car was found in a ditch. It appeared as though it had just slid in. There was no damage to the vehicle, the doors were open, and the keys were gone. There was no evidence of a struggle of any sort. There were no tracks to show which way Brandon had started walking. The area was searched by rescue teams, dogs, helicopters, even cadaver dogs. Some believe that he fell into the Yellow Medicine River. Search dogs followed his scent down to the river, but the scent didn't stop there. It continued up about 2 miles. Suddenly, the dogs lost the scent on a nameless gravel road in the middle of farmland. There was nothing at the site, no evidence to show there was a struggle, no personal property, nothing, just gone. By 2011, nearly 122 square miles has been searched. And to this day, 17 years later, no physical evidence has ever surfaced. Brandon has never been found. His case remains open. What really happened after that 2 a.m. call? Was he lost, or did something more sinister take place? Some think he fell into the river and drowned. The evidence does not support this. The scent trail continued past the river. There was no personal property found on the bank or in the river. The water did run high and fast in May, but he should have been found at some point after that. Searchers in boats with sonar, people on the ground, and helicopters never found a thing. Some think he disappeared intentionally. There's nothing to support this theory. Brandon had not had any mental health struggles. The fact that he called for someone to come help showed he was seeking help. Plus, he was on the phone the whole time with his parents. Some think he succumbed to the elements. On that night, the temperature was in the low 40s. He had been walking around 45 minutes. This theory seems unlikely as well. The scent trail came to a specific and abrupt stop. There was no evidence of Brandon, no backpack or phone, and the whole time he was talking to his parents, he never complained of the cold or that he was in any distress. Police cannot rule out foul play, but there's no concrete evidence to support it. The horrible part is Brandon's last words. All he said was, "Oh shit," then dead air. The phone didn't disconnect and there was no sound. His parents thought if they hung up and called him back, maybe he would be able to see the light of the phone or hear the ring. Perhaps in the dark he had dropped it and couldn't find it. When his parents hung up and tried to call back, it went straight to voicemail. In response to delays in the investigation, Brandon's parents lobbied for changes in state law. Eventually, Minnesota passed Brandon's Law, which requires immediate police action when adults are reported missing under suspicious circumstances. For Brandon's parents, this law came too late. Cases like Brandon's remind us how quickly someone can vanish and how many questions can remain unanswered. I find the story so disturbing. If you find the story interesting, please subscribe for more true mysteries. Leave a comment with your theory. What do you think happened to Brandon?